What's up, team? Welcome back to the Huddle, where your weekly playbook. Get everything in your flooring career on the right path. For you newcomers, welcome to the team. For everybody else, welcome back. With me this week and usually is Mr. Daniel and Jose Gonzalez, preferred flooring out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Also with us today is Mr. Sonny Callaham.
Hello, hello.
We are on site for a sheet vinyl training. I think it's heat welding training. I'm going to let the guys talk a little bit more about that. But it's an exciting day. Anytime you can kind of deep dive into training, talk about we'll obviously probably end up talking about how this impacts our industry. So, Daniel, Jose, Sonny, how's it going, my man?
Good.
Oh, going good, man.
Jose.
Watching Daniel work.
About time.
A little bit under the weather
time I
today,
do
but
something.
I'm doing all right.
This dude's been out in the field working for the last several weeks, so you should be in good practice, Daniel.
I only did one Flash Cove job between, I don't know, it's probably been a couple years, and then I did one job and then came over here. But everyone says that it looks like I know what I'm doing, so I should be fine, I think.
Well,
It's like
that
riding
one
a
time
bike.
you learned a lot.
Yeah, just don't shank yourself.
No, we've got a great group of guys here, man. A lot of learning going on. There's a couple pretty experienced guys here, so that's great. That way, because I'm not only here to teach some of these guys, man. If some of these guys know something that I don't, I'm here to learn too, and that's what we constantly preach, right? It's not all about me or us giving our knowledge away. It's all about us learning as much as we can at the same time. So I'm learning here at the same time as these guys are learning. So it's been a great time. We're actually working onto the Flash Cove portion right now, and they're cutting out some of the vinyl. We just got over the pattern scribing on the Flash Cove, so a wealth of knowledge going on over here.
That's awesome.
Fun.
You know, I've heard it said that if you really want to learn something, teach it. Like driving it home. That's probably
You learn a
just
lot.
as true in flooring as it is teaching other items. You know, you get down and you start teaching someone, you almost learn little tricks yourself and teach yourself little things, maybe pick something up from another guy. I think that's what's pretty awesome about our industry, is that knowledge it's out there. If anybody on this podcast wants to get trained, there are so many people that want to pass on their knowledge and teach. I think it's pretty special part of our industry in general.
And they ask me, why I do this, right? They're like, why are you here teaching? And the answer is, I'm not trying to keep information like the previous generations have. It's like, I'm only going to be here for so long. I need to start getting some of this knowledge out of my head. If I don't get it out of my head and pass it on to the next person, then I really didn't do the industry a favor.
Yeah, it's one of the more honorable things you can do as an installer is teach other people. Any skilled trade, really. I mean, we're talking about flooring, obviously, but any skilled trade, I believe, passing on that knowledge. That's how we got where we were when installation was really good. Is that we had kind of an apprenticeship atmosphere in flooring, and gaining that back a little bit and getting the knowledge from guys like you and others in the industry to share it is pretty special. I want to. I've got to jump off here early, so I'm going to let Jose, Daniel, and Sonny run the rest of the podcast. I want to come on and thank everybody. If you're catching us on any of our socials, please, comment, like, subscribe to us if you catch us on YouTube later. And for our live audience, I think you're in for a special treat today, just kind of getting a inside view of what a training in our industry looks like. This is very specific and kind of an advanced training, but it's pretty special. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Sorry that I cannot stay the entire podcast, but everybody enjoy. And yeah, fellas, you guys gonna take it from here. I appreciate you guys.
All right, Paul.
it
Thanks
easy,
for
man.
jumping on for a little bit.
Thanks, guys.
All right, gentlemen. So walk us through a little bit of what we can expect today during today's episode with Paul jumping off and Daniel kind of playing both sides, doing the instructing and the podcast at the same time.
So right now, I think the big goal is to just give people an insight on what happens in these trainings and how they run, right? Because not everyone actually goes to these trainings because they think something can't be learned, and we just need to get over that right away because uh, I'm learning here. People that have 15, 20 years experience are learning over here. One of the things that I went over was the quick fix on how to get an inside and outside corner to look good before your vinyl goes on, because none of these jobs are perfect. And people just looked at each other, and one of the guys was like, that right there is worth this class, like just learning that one tidbit of
That
information.
that
And it's
small
That
idiosyncrasy that someone learns, it's worth it, right? Because we can all learn. We can all learn.
yeah, 100%. I know what you're talking about already, D. And yeah, you're right. I remember the first time that was presented to us, and we were like, "What the? It's that easy, huh? Something so simple."
that easy, something that you wouldn't even think about, but then once you see it, it's like that would have been the best thing to know, 10 years ago when I was on this
Yeah.
project.
And that was
But
that was from a roofing aspect, right? From a roofing, the roofing
well,
section in a store.
they asked me where I learned it, and I was like, man, I don't even remember. All I know is that we put it in practice right away and been using it ever since.
It was from a roofing guy.
Wow. Very nice. Yeah, I'm looking at the comment here where Rollins said, "Teaching make me happy." I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And he's
Yeah.
probably like me. I like doing it for selfish reasons because it makes me feel good, right? I love
Hey,
passing along information that I have stored in this melon of mine. That if I don't give it away, if I don't give it away now, then who's going to have it?
right. So I'm just gonna walk over here. I'm gonna switch my camera around so you guys can
Okay.
get a glimpse of what's kind of going on in the background as soon as I
Well,
figure out how to do it.
we'll let you do your thing, and then we'll let Sonny kind of paint a picture of what led us to this moment right here. Does that
Sure,
sound fair?
Yeah.
works for me.
So we've got everyone over here. Like I said, we just went over the pattern scribing. So he's over here cutting his piece out, showing everyone how he does it. And this training facility is amazing, man. It's like, look how we've got all this room over here, some tables out here if we need to. Over Sonny's actually sitting in the presentation room, where I mean we go in there and we have lunch. He gives his lunch and learn type of stuff going on.
Yeah,
That's
we're here at America's Floor Source in Columbus, Ohio, and honestly, I've never seen another place like this.
It's beautiful over here, man.
They're so
And
committed to
we've got
training.
all of our stations set up. This station right here with all the tools is the one that we kind of congregate at, and this is where we do the demonstrations. Hey, this is how we do this, and then they move on to okay, we learned how to do it. Let's go do it. We have some practice welds going on over here with some circles, a bunch of straight lines, and it's just the amount of progression in this little area from starting on the first seam, and then you get comfortable with a straight seam, and then you start doing circles, and just the quality from the first one to the last one is amazing. And just that, I mean, this was just this morning. I mean, it was probably the first couple hours, and people are already way more comfortable than when they started yesterday.
that's good. Get hands on, get a little bit more comfortable, and that's where being able to set yourself apart by going to a class like this, and you should be wanting to make a mistake here in front of your peers,
Oh,
right? You want to make a
absolutely.
mistake
And I
so that
told
way you can
them, like,
learn. Yeah,
that's the whole goal for trainings like this. I'm not here telling everyone that they have to be 100% perfect on everything. I said, this is where you want to make a mistake. I don't want you to make a mistake on a job site. I'm trying to, hey, let's make the mistake here. Let's learn how to fix it. So that way when you're out in the field, you're not in a panic, right? And that's the
Yep.
thing. Like, like Sonny said earlier too, it's like, I'm going to give you my number. Call me whenever you have any questions.
That's right. You
So,
want to learn something new. You want to try something new. This is the time to do it. One of the more talented guys who were there is a really good installer. He was trying a new tool, and guess what? That last inch, it went off a little bit. It's like he'd never used that tool before. Now,
and I'm
I'm
trying to
sure he
talk him
could use it
into
again
that.
right now and just
It's
make it
still one of
perfect.
the best tools to use.
Yeah.
And then we actually have Winkleman, Don Winkleman here from Winkleman Sales. They,
Good for him.
I tell everyone over here, they take a bunch of our money throughout the years. So definitely make sure you give them a visit. Donna is gonna do some demonstrations for us. He's gonna be taking off tomorrow afternoon. So first thing in the morning, we're gonna come here and we're gonna do some demonstrations on some of his tools. That way, guys can. The biggest thing is using a tool now, so that way you know if you want to purchase it and use it full time. Right?
Mhm.
It's the best time when you don't have to pay for it, but you can still use that tool.
Yeah,
That's right.
you can listen to everybody until you're blue in the face saying what one they like the best, but the best tool for you is the one that you perform the best with, the one you're comfortable with. But this is a great opportunity to see some other hand tools at work, so that way you can find out if you're comfortable, or see if you like the outcome.
Right. That's exactly what we were saying, that everybody's got their way to do it, and this is the time to try new things and see what works better. You're going to pick up something that Daniel does that some of the other guys, they don't do, and it's going to make you better. Right. That's what we're all here for.
Right. And I mean, and I told them, the guys, right, and it's all these are our personal tools that we use on a daily basis on job sites, and these guys are taking great care of them. I'm really happy with the turnout that we have here.
Oh yeah. We have some tools out there today, don't we, this week?
Oh yeah, I mean, this right here is that's all the stuff that I brought.
Mm-hmm.
You can say,
But we do. We have a good mix in the class, though. We've got folks who had never done it before. We have one guy, this is first week. We have at least three guys who do this for a living, and they're super talented. We have some manufacturer reps. We have Don Winkleman with the tools. I mean, it's just a good mix that we can have these conversations about how do you do this? Why do you do it that way? And everyone seems to be picking up on it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And when you guys are problem solving and or troubleshooting or explaining, and there's that many people there that are either, for one, showing a bunch of interest, or two, have the experience, I'd just love to be a fly on the wall just to listen to the feedback that everybody is getting from all different facets. Like someone who's been doing for 15 years versus 10 versus 5, and just to see the information and teachings bouncing off one another and everyone having an aha moment. I know we've said that a lot of times too, but I love listening to the way everyone interprets the training and the process. And that's where the learning comes in.
Yeah, and
Right.
it's great when we get to see those aha moments, but there's even more of those aha moments that people don't communicate, right? That clicks in their brain we don't even know about. That's what makes it so great when you're doing training like this, because they're taking it in.
100%. The quiet one are the ones that are having the everything's going click, 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 click. Oh man, I want to say this, but I don't want to sound dumb. Hey,
Yep.
there is no
Sound dumb
sounding
right
dumb
now.
Yeah, there is none.
Yeah,
That's the time when you get it out, because it might just make someone's final installation one day, right? That technique
That's the thing, is if you have a question in your head, that means more than likely someone else in the class has that same question. So
Yeah.
if no one's asking it, no one's getting the answers that they need. And I told one of the gentlemen yesterday, I said, I would say that there's no dumb question, but there's absolutely some dumb questions. But if you have that dumb question, get it out of your head now, because we need those questions answered regardless.
No, for sure, for sure.
it's only classified as a dumb question if the answer's already been given 3 times in 3 different ways.
No, there's been plenty of questions here, and we try to do our best to answer them. And what I like best about this group of guys is, you do have that range in there, and if I'm given an answer, I'm like, this is the way that we do it. Hey guys, how do you do it? That way, gives people options, and then gives you a way to get your own way to it. Hey, I kind of want to combine these two, and that's what needs to be done sometimes, because like some of these guys are like, hey, I want to do it the way that you do it. Well, I was like, how do you guys do it? And they're like, this way. And I'm like, all right, it doesn't matter which way you do it, because and I explained it in terms of you and I, Jose. We learned together. You know, you started, and then you taught me, and then what I did was I took it and I was like, all right, I'm going to start doing it this way. And I said, but the main thing is that what's going to end up happening is we're going to, if you were in a room over here and I was in a room over here, we would do it completely different, but that end result would be almost the exact same. Like you wouldn't be able to differentiate who did what room, and that's really the goal, right? I don't care how you do it, just get it done and make it look the best that you can. And what I've been really driving home with these guys is that it doesn't matter about anything other than what the client or end user thinks, and we're trying to give them the best product that we can.
And I
Right.
think,
Well, not to mention that every job is going to be different, right? You may have to use
yeah,
a different method to get something done. And if more tools you have in your tool belt, the better it's
Yeah,
going to go.
and that's why we're focusing on pattern scribing right now. There was some newer gentleman that didn't know how to pattern scribe flat lay, and that wasn't going to be one of the focuses that I wanted it to do, but it's one of the focuses that we had to do in order to teach these guys the right way to do things. Sometimes you get thrown a curveball and you just roll with it. It's okay, you guys don't know how to do this. This is what we're going to focus on today, so that way later on when we're working on the stuff that's even harder to pattern scribe, you already have an idea of what's going on.
well, not only does it help the people who need to learn it a little bit, but it's also a quick refresher course for some of the other gentlemen who might not have done it in a while. I mean, some of those guys, you said they do it every day, right? So that's probably like right on their mind, but that's a great
Right.
opportunity for them to chime in and give some advice and some pointers during that process too.
Yep. And we like Sonny was saying, we have some manufacturer reps here that are taking the class, and they
That's
have
awesome.
done they
That
have
is
done
pretty fantastic.
some resilient over the years, and then you get into that role and it's like sometimes you end up getting a little rusty, or you just want to come to the training to say, hey, what is the new stuff that's going on right now? What is it that I don't know? And it's awesome to see these guys here doing that and being open to not only new tools but new techniques. And that's what it's all about. It's all about constantly learning. Everyone here knows that they don't know everything, and that's been made clear by myself and even all the other guys that have experience.
The
And
best kind of class when
it
everyone
is
understands
Yeah.
that.
there's some great
How,
guys
how
in here,
many
man.
how many attendees do you get for this class total?
14.
14.
14. Oh, so it's a pretty big classroom then,
It's a
with all
big
the
Yeah.
hands on and yeah. So
And one other group that we failed to mention is we have a couple of salespeople, one that's taken a class and multiple that pop in and out during the week so they can understand what they need to do when they're bidding these jobs. They go out to a job, what they can talk to their customer about managing their expectations. I think it's great. It's really a testament to how Jason does things here at America's Floor.
Yeah, and I was talking to one of the salesmen, right? And he was like, he's down there working in the box, and then we go to lunch, and he was like, dude, I had no idea this much went into something that I thought was so simple.
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot simpler on paper than it is when you're getting down to the nitty gritty.
That's right.
Especially when you having the flash cove at hospitals with fixtures already hanging off the walls, and it's a renovation, and they're not moving anything anymore, and you got to start doing the belly method, like flash cove
Yep.
upside down, and that's where the pattern scribe is going to come and help out. But there are still some instances where you are in the most awkward, most uncomfortable positions to get that done,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's
even
where
when I
ingenuity comes
was
in.
doing installer of the year, we have pictures of me laying on my belly, and we just say that that's the Flash Cove man
Yeah.
stance, right? That's what we do.
Crystal as
Find a
well.
way.
Big sister. I have a picture on my camera roll of her laying, spread out like Superman.
Excuse me. That's hilarious. Sometimes there's no other alternative. Sometimes
That's
you just
right.
got to figure it out.
But if you look at this group right now through Daniel's phone, look at them all. They're all engaged. They're all committed. They all want to see what's going on, and it's just a great class.
Now, who else is instructing there with you, Daniel?
So that young man in the box works here. His name is Chris. He works for America's Floor Source, and he's got some crazy hand skills. He knows what he's talking about. He's been a great helper for Daniel to teach this class, because he certainly knows what he's doing and he's teaching it the right way.
I see he knows how to do that. The floor guy shuffle there.
Yeah, the floor guy shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he definitely. We've talked a few times, and I was like, hey, when I was at a certification one time, it was, with William Thornton, and he looked at me and just the knowledge that I had, and he was like, you know what, you're not gonna take this class, you're gonna help me. And we kind of needed some help, and I asked him, and he was like, yeah, man, I'll help you with whatever you need. And he's been doing a great job. He has different techniques than we do, and like I said, I'm learning at the same time. He's teaching me just as much as I'm hopefully teaching him.
Yeah, you talk about people with a lot of knowledge. William Thornton is one, and he's more than willing to share it with you. But when you talk about old school, that man is old school. So
I've only had the pleasure of talking to him on the phone a couple of times here and there about some projects. Never really talked to him in person or had the pleasure of working with him. But
yeah, he's great.
He did mention Daniel's name a lot, and we did a little bit of Daniel bashing. Hilarious, good humor, of course. More about how tall he was, but than anything else. But
hey, look, we don't talk about how tall people are around here, all right? Tell them.
You know what? As long as that stack of Milwaukee's isn't taller than you, we're good.
That probably is taller than me.
I cannot confirm or deny that statement.
So, Mr. Sonny, what led to this, where we're at right now? What part of the industry struck you as this? There was a hole in the industry needed to be filled, and this is where you're at now. I know that we could go down a long road, and there's a lot of different ways, but I just want to know, like, first, from installer to installer, what led to this point right here? And you could take your time or shorten it up. And I know that's putting you on the spot, but I apologize about that.
Paul and I realized this before we even started NAFCT as a nonprofit. We saw the shortage of people who knew how to do it. Quite frankly, that's what it was. We were finding in the larger markets, there were people who would just go around and do the flash cove and heat weld. That's all they would do, because the new people coming into the industry just didn't know how to do it. And like anything else, we just didn't want that art to die, right? We wanted to make sure that the next generation knew how to do it. We did the first class. Daniel and Mike Pigeon taught the class. It was in February of 2020. So what happened in March of 2020, we all shut down. So we weren't able to do it.
Remember that? Yeah.
Do it again there pretty quick. But what it did allow us to do was go through the class and make it even better. Now that we had done it one time, we picked it apart. We all put our input in, and we made it better. And here we are now.
Gotcha. And then, so is there, I kind of know some of the answers to this, but for people watching, is there a progression that is expected in order to be able to take the training portion or certification portion? Because it's my understanding that this is not only just a training, but a certification, right? But it's based around certifying individuals who have some prior experience, but it's still open to others who want the training portion as well, the education portion of it.
Well, that's what makes it's so great with the folks that we have here, because the first 3 days are training, right? We're showing people how to do it. The last 2 days are the people who have been doing it for years and they want to show off their skills and get certified, right? So the first 3 days is literally taking people who haven't done it before or done very limited number of flash code jobs and teach them how to do it. Will they all necessarily be certified at the end of the week? Probably not, but it's training and certification mixed into one. And we have some just coming for 3 days. We have some that are just coming for the certification. It just depends on what level you are in your experience.
Gotcha. Well, out of 14, hopefully the turnout's pretty good, man. Yeah, never go to a class hoping that hopefully I'm the only one that passes. No way. Always go take one of those classes, and hopefully everyone
you know what?
hits their goal.
Let's think about our classes. Not everybody passes. Some people get mad about that, but if everyone passed, then we're not doing it right. Right?
Yeah, you have to
Not
make
enough.
it challenging, right? And
That's right. It's got to be challenging. Everyone can write a piece of paper that says you're certified, but if you don't know what you're doing, that certification doesn't mean anything. Right? And
Well,
that's
essentially, you're putting your stamp on these individuals that pass at the end of the course. And if someone's going to carry around your brand, you want to make sure that they're carrying it around
that's right.
in the manner in which you
We intended it.
created
Right?
the class. Yeah, and intended. Correct.
Yeah. So we have 8 folks that are going to stay for the certification out of the 14. So that's a good turnout. We'll get them certified and have them go through the process, and hopefully they'll be certified, I should say.
no, I think the
Awesome.
guys that are going to stay have a great chance. They've been asking the right questions. They've been, when something doesn't look right, hey, can you come and look at this? What should I do here? And that's the biggest thing, is that I like to have my trainings be as real world as possible. And I said, I'm not
Interactive.
in here looking for perfection. I don't want you to go in here and be like, this is a one and done. This is, we're learning. Ask the questions. I want this to be like, all right, I'm on a job site. I just messed this
Likewise,
up.
Mr. Churchill.
What am I going to do to fix this and have it pass for the client? That's really what we're looking for. Like, if you mess something up, let's talk about it. Let's go over our options, real world scenarios.
Well, that's
And
why
that's
Paul and I
perfect.
built the assemblies. There's nothing square on those things, so they got to really work around.
You guys tried
Yeah.
your hardest and still failed, and that's what we needed.
That's right. We need a certification course on how to build assemblies.
Well, like you said, real world problems, right? You can't have a perfectly square one. And even if you guys did make it perfectly square, chances are that by the time you're ready to use it, the wood products are going to warp and move, and it won't be square anymore anyway.
That's right.
No,
So
man. They
go
have
ahead.
these America's Floor Source buckets that I'm trying to get my hands on because they're super sweet.
So another question for you guys is through the certification process, is there anything that you guys are learning that can be adopted into the next class? Do you guys feel that there are some items that the students offer that are very educational, informational that could be incorporated into future trainings?
Oh,
I know this is only a couple of trainings in, but
yeah, I mean, we're learning just as much as they are. I mean, we're going to take all these things that we hear and the questions that we ask, and we'll incorporate it. I'm sure Daniel's ran into a lot of things. It's like, yeah, you know what? I need to cover that more. Same with the PowerPoint. Same with what we're doing for the lunch and learns. Just what else can we do to make it better? Because we can always get better, just in flooring and in our
Oh, yeah.
training and everything else.
And when we got here this morning too, right, the guys are like, are we going to go in and do another presentation or anything? I said, no, sir. I'm mostly hands-on. Like, you got the introduction. We talked about the things that we were going to work on out here and with the tools that we were going to work on and what we kind of expect. Now it's mostly hands-on. And the biggest thing, like I said earlier, is knowing where our skill levels are at. And that's what I kind of started with first thing yesterday morning. I'm like, this is who I am. This is, the kind of my credentials and how long I've been doing things. I want to go around the room so I can gauge what we're working with. And that's kind of when I knew we were going to have to add a little bit more than we thought we were. But that's the versatility of this class is, if there's people that don't know what they're doing, we're going to make sure that they know what they're doing before we send them out of here. Whether they pass or fail the certification, that's irrelevant because they're going to get out of here knowing more than when they came.
Yep.
that's awesome. And then you had mentioned that some of the sales team that are popping in and out now, are they just popping in and out sporadically, or do you have any? Is there any literature or any kind of guidelines that you have that is specifically geared for them as far as information or questions they might have, or is it they just popping in and absorbing at what point you guys are at the
Right.
class?
I think we have 2 taking the class, right? I know at least
They're
one,
in here full
but I think
time.
there's 2 actually
Okay.
taking it Monday through Wednesday. The others are just kind of coming in and watching Daniel when he's doing his thing to kind of just pick up a tip here and there because we can't have all the salespeople in there.
Right.
Right.
And
Somebody's got to be selling something.
That's
And
right.
the guys that are in here, one of them is doing everything. The other one is in here just taking it all in because he does have some knee problems.
Mm.
And he said that he was in the military and he's got some knee problems. He's like, man, if I get down on my knees, I'm going to be walking with a cane for a few weeks. And that's just not something that I'm trying to do. And I was like, I totally get that, man. But he's been walking around. He's been asking questions. The
Always in the
gentleman,
mix. Yep.
yeah, the gentleman that's actually doing it, he brought his computer this morning because, I mean, we all know how you can get behind really quick. So he brought his computer in, he was working, and then once he got to a point where he felt he was comfortable, he was like, all right, I'm gonna get down here and start welding some stuff now. And that's the one that, he was like, I can't believe how much actually goes into just something that's in this little box. Now I know that when I'm selling these jobs, how much labor actually goes into. I mean, you're looking at a surgery room as opposed to this little box, and this little box is taking you this long to weld. 12 feet.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different parts and pieces when it comes into getting the from start to finish on an installation of Flash Cove. Now, from you looking from the sales side, you got to get all the components, and then from the installation side, is you got to have all the techniques and the proper tooling.
Well, the
And
tooling is huge, right? Because we came in here with all the tooling, and one of the guys was saying earlier too. He was like, "Yeah, they don't understand how much these things actually cost, and when you're only want to pay X amount for heat welding." And then he looked at the table. He was like, "Just look at your tools. There's like $20,000-$30,000 there, and these are the things that we have to invest in." And I said, "Yeah." But you have to realize that it took a long time to get that $20,000 to $30,000 worth of heat welding equipment,
Right.
and it didn't just happen overnight. And that's why we have all the tools. And I tell the guys, you can start with this entry level stuff and work your way up just like
yeah,
anything else.
Mhm.
yeah, it's one
So
of those things where you can't invest the most money in the top dollar in something that you don't know is going to take off for you or not. And
right.
I mean, you may not like that tool. You may want a different tool.
yeah,
And that's the
what this
biggest thing
class
about
is
these
for.
trainings and
Yeah.
having Don here, using Don's tools. I come here using my tools. Hey, I've never used this tool before. I've only heard about it. This is your chance, man. Start getting the hang of it.
That's right.
We got Crane's new groover here. We got Turbo Tools was generous and gave us a bunch of stuff on the last class. We're using all that stuff today. We talk about Leo. One of the manufacturer reps here was like, yeah, he goes over to Leo's shop and just talks to him all the time. And I'm like, yeah, Leo's got some great stuff, man. We've been using all his stuff for years and we'll never stop using them.
yep. And I got to shake that man's hand in
It doesn't
person.
mean that that's the only tool out there that you can use. Like Crane's new groover, like I got to get a hold of Darwin because a lot of these guys here are like, I love this groover, and I'm like, just got to let Darwin know, hey man, people love your groover, keep on selling it.
Well, that's the
I
thing
don't know
about
who
this
made
class. This 3-day class could easily be 5 days because it's all about repetition. It's trying the new tools, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But I mean, it's like anything in life. The way you get better is just keep doing it over
Right.
and over.
And
And
I
this
was
is the place
talking
to
to
do it.
Chris earlier, and he's just looking at the boxes, and he was like, man, this is a lot to cover in 5 days. You can, like you said, I said, I know, and you really don't think about it in those terms because you're so proficient at it. But to teach someone from zero how to be like somewhat proficient at it in 5 days is a challenge. And these guys are up to that challenge though, and they're doing a great job. I can't wait to see what some of these test booths look like.
Yeah, I'm very curious on that. Are you gonna take pictures and document the process to share later on?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure everything is going to be up on NAFCT's social medias and stuff like that not too long after everything is done.
That's right.
That's good.
That's the best way to learn. Mess something up, you'll learn real quick.
Oh, real fast. Like the last certification we did when we were down in Georgia, and Andy was like, hey, are we going to go over repairs? And I was like, oh, there's going to be stuff to repair. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll have plenty to go over.
You know what? I will say that the reason that I think that we got really good at resilient and sheet vinyl welding was the amount of repairs that we came in behind installers and ourselves to do, learning how to deconstruct, reconstruct, and try to put it back together. That made us better in the resilient field, and only because we learned how to mitigate that, right, by deconstructing some of the failures from ourselves and other installers, and also we had to get better at hand skills and hand techniques and other outside the box thinking to I don't want to say hide mistakes, right, but let's just say make it look like it was an intentional design.
Yeah. Well, I had a great moment out here with one of the guys. The first 3 inches of his seam was just completely burnt. So I'm looking at him. He's down there, and he starts a little bit past it. I pointed to. I said, "What happened there?" He goes, "Well, I'm having trouble with getting it in here and starting with it, without burning it." And sure enough, he asked somebody else. They came over and helped him, and he figured it out. He screwed it up. He asked the question how to fix it, and I haven't seen him do it ever again. Right? Everything else has been great.
And that's it's those comfort things too. Like if you're afraid to burn yourself, you're afraid to cut yourself, you're afraid to do a lot of things, you're gonna be a little apprehensive on trying new techniques.
That's right.
And I think after a while, you become so used to the motions that it becomes second nature. Like the heat gun's or the welder is gonna be there for a second. If you could bear the heat for 1 second, you get there and start it against the wall with no, instead of starting away from the wall, getting your curl up there.
Like anything.
It is muscle memory. You learn what different welds and materials you're able to manipulate before you stick it in the gun to go ahead and get started. You learn a lot of do's and don'ts the more you work with certain materials, and I think that's where Daniel's had the luxury and where it comes in handy, where he's been able to work with many different manufacturers over and over again to learn little shortcuts for himself here and there, but then also meeting like Mike Pigeon and taking other classes with other people and adopting some of their techniques and their information to make him a better installer as well. Like that's where you learn a lot. That's where those moments come into play.
Yeah, one of the things they had to do today was do a circle, heat weld a circle, and Daniel was just awesome with it. He said, "Look, you're going to burn yourself. Get that mindset out of the way. You are going to burn yourself, but this is what we're going to do." And you know what? Everyone was able to do it. So
yeah, as long as you're prepared, I guess. This is going to hurt a little bit, guys. Like right here, this part right here, you might as well kiss it gone, or put some tape around it if you have to, just to bear that heat a little bit more. But
do it enough times, you'll be okay with it.
yeah, you develop a little bit of a callus. So it's good times, and I miss getting down to the nitty gritty and being able to do that full time. Some people are like, "Oh, I don't want to be on the floor my whole life." Like, you're right, you don't. Right, your body can't withstand that type of abuse. But at the same time, it's if you learn how to do something efficient, proficient, when it's your turn to teach and it's your turn to look at it from a sales perspective, there's a lot of parts that you won't miss that somebody else will, and you can appreciate from start to finish the sales part and the installation part.
Yeah, and when we get to meet those people all the time that they're not going to install forever, right? I'll give you the perfect example. Andy McWilliams. We met at an NFIC event with PJ. And the day I met him, I knew, you know what? You're going to be a manufacturer's rep and you're going to do training. And we made it happen, right? And he's one of the best that's out there right now. But you can just tell that people want to share the information. Some people don't, but the people who want to share the information and they're passionate about flooring, they can make a difference, right? And that's all we're trying to do. And you talk about hand skills. What I tell people is, I kind of liken myself to Bobby Cox, right? Bobby Cox was not a great baseball player, but he was a really good coach. And I'm kind of the same way. I'm not going to get down on the floor and out install many people, right? My skills were average at best, right? But I can teach anybody on how to install the floor, right? I can read a book, but I still have experience behind it to teach people how to install the floor. And when you enjoy that, there's nothing better. There's nothing better.
Well, that goes to the point where somebody had you could take this for what it is. Those who can't do teach, right? And
Yeah, I get that all the time.
I don't think that that's the case at all. It's you know sometimes you can understand something from a scientific perspective. You can understand it from start to finish on the process, but your skill set that's required hands-on just can't achieve that level, right? But you can definitely explain it to someone who has better hand skills, and that's the coaching perspective. Is someone might have if someone's abilities will supersede yours,
That's
but they
right.
might not have the ability to absorb the knowledge the way you do. And if you can somehow click and find that common ground to help their ability match your knowledge, man,
Yep.
that's teaching. Just watching someone learn something that you can never take away from them and achieve it, and then at a higher level than what they've done before. That's one of those fantastic things that you can't. You walk away and you smile when
Yeah,
when they've
you
learned
do
it.
it for selfish reasons. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
tell you one example of that, and by the way, I just noticed where I can see people chiming in. So you guys have been saying hi, so I forgive me for not answering you, but hello to everyone that's out there. But I used to wear khaki pants when I would go do demos and talking to people. I realized I couldn't do that, right? I had to wear jeans because there was always that one guy in the back who would call you out and say, you can't do it. You can't. I'd get on the floor and do it. They're like, oh, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's just not a salesman or a guy who knows nothing about it. Sometimes you just got to put your money where your mouth is.
And that's it too. And we got a couple comments on here too. Royman, it always depends on the person you are teaching is ready for the knowledge. And you know what? I mean, he's right, but there's a if you are able to get people excited about the learning process and help them understand that this is something that they'll take with them for the rest of their life and they can pass it on to whomever, they'll be excited. They'll be ready to
Dude,
learn.
yeah, even Sonny's lunch and learns that we've been going, we're eating lunch, and um, he's going over presentations that he has, and like I'm learning stuff over here from Sonny. To even today, he was talking about adhesives. Like it's things that you don't even realize that the science behind everything, and that's what I'm always going to push. Right? There's still salesmen that are like, no, our project managers handle all the science behind everything, and they don't need to know. The installers don't need to know about this, which is it sounds good in theory, but the installer is your last line of defense on that project. They're the
Right.
ones that are on the ground running. So if they don't know that, hey, this is um, what moisture will possibly look like. This is what efflorescence is, just simple things like that, then they're not set up for success. We need to know as installers the science, basically start to finish behind everything in
Right.
order to have a successful project, because if anything goes wrong, we as installers know, what do they say?
We are the professional.
We're the professional.
Yeah, yeah. So it doesn't matter who sells the material. At the end of the day, the installer is, like Daniel said, the last line of defense, right? And sometimes you're right. Sometimes the salesperson do have an extensive knowledge of the science behind a product, but their knowledge might stop at X, and you got to explain Y and Z to them, and that's where working with companies where they're not as reluctant to listen to the installer, right? They listen to your information, they take their information, they go back and they put it together to make sense of everything. And those are the people that I want to work for. The companies and individuals that understand, like Daniel said earlier, they don't know everything. And sometimes you do have to listen to the installer. Sometimes you do have to listen to the salesperson, put your heads together, make sure that you are doing your best possible, the best. Make sure you're doing your best that you could possibly do for a successful installation, and
Yep.
that might be being that thorn in the side of the salesperson or the installer and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing, man. What can we do to find out what's going on here? I'm just a little nervous that we're missing something.
Okay. Yeah. So today we talked about adhesives, like Daniel said. We talked about all the different types of chemistries, the wet set, PSAs, modified, whatever you want to call it,
Like, oh, you need
which went
stapler
well. But yesterday
in
we
the
talked
blue
about
box right there.
ASTM standards. Oh, I thought Daniel was talking. So it just amazes me when I talk to these groups of people and I bring up ASTM standards, how little of them even know what they are, much less be a member. I always say that when there's a problem on a job site and the manufacturer comes out, be it adhesive, underlayment, mitigation, the flooring itself, whatever, you're going to be judged by 1 or 3 ASTM standards on day one. The first thing they're going to look at, ASTM F710, 1869, or 2170, which those 2 are for moisture, right? And if you don't know what those documents are and how to make sure that you abide by those guides, or practice, I should say, and test method, how are you going to win, right? You're not going to win the game. You're going to lose because you don't know the rules. So that's
Every
another thing.
manufacturer is going to have that in their literature that you need to abide by these standards, and they'll spell it out for you. And that's where you have to start looking. Hey, if you're reading manufacturer's instructions, you should be seeing these standards, and you should be, at least getting them so you can start having an understanding of what they contain.
And,
That's right.
and just
Not
for
every one of them are going to say ASTM F710. And people don't know what that is. They just go, okay, I'll sweep the floor.
yeah,
There's so
so
much.
I want to break it down for some individuals who might not understand what that is. That the ASTM standards that Sonny and Daniel are talking about are pretty much the foundation in which the specifications are built on top of from these manufacturers. So let's just call it a starting point, right? Like this is a requirement in order for these specs to be properly adhered to the product in which you're working with. So like it took me a while to understand that years ago. But once somebody broke it down to me and said, look, this is the foundation of what these specs were built on. If it doesn't pass this right here, this is your ground zero, and we've built on top of that.
That's right.
You should pay attention to this bottom line right here, because that's going to let you know.
Yeah, ASTM F710, how to prepare a concrete substrate to receive resilient flooring. That should tell you right there. There's going to be a lot of information in there, right? What do you need to do?
I'll let you know, I was a copy paste king when it came down to some of that on a couple of projects recently, where they were trying to have us go outside of that.
If you bid work, it's going to say in that bid packet to prepare the job site, install according to ASTM F710. And you're bidding jobs and you don't even know what that means. When in reality, if you come to a job site and there's something that doesn't conform to ASTM F710, you've got that document to take back to the contract, say, look, you're the one who told me to do it this way, but now I don't have it on the job, right? Here's a change order. This is what it's going to cost. It's an advocate for the installer, right? It helps back you up. It's not just you saying no to somebody. Here's why, right?
And that's what we've been through plenty of times, where it's like they're like, hey, just do this. And you're like, no, in your contract, you spelled it out what I have to follow.
Yep.
And that's when I touched yesterday too, when I was like doing our introduction, and Daniel from Preferred Flooring, this is what we do. A lot of what we do is, with these standards, and what you need to realize about the standards is that's the bare minimum you should be doing. There's always things that you can do better. And that's why our slogan is setting the standard one installation at a time. It's we take those standards and then we're like, okay, well, what can we still do better? What can we do that's on top of these standards that will make this last longer for that client?
That's right.
It's all about adding long-term value.
Mr. Churchill, it's much more than clean, dry, flat, and sound. There's a lot more to it.
That's a starting point.
Yeah, exactly.
I do know that we're getting pretty close to our time, guys. So if we've already exceeded it, but
yeah, I just want to, we can keep going forever, but absolutely, man, this training and the feedback that we've gotten so far is great, and I'm loving it.
No, I think it's going really good, man. I appreciate you being here. if you guys haven't seen Daniel install, he's just phenomenal. So, and he's a great instructor. So I appreciate you, man.
No, I appreciate you, Sonny, for putting this on, and definitely America's Floor Source for letting us use this beautiful space. And you know, the vendors that we have here that are Don Winkleman, you know, he's got a bunch of tools here. He's like, use whatever you need. That's amazing. And then, you know, our other vendors that are not necessarily here, but we have tools here that are from them. You know, Wolf, Turbo Tools, Crane. Thanks for generously, you know, giving stuff to us. And letting us use these tools, not necessarily just for this class. I mean, I'm using them on job sites too. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
We get a demo tomorrow, as a matter of fact, for a machine from Wolf. So
Yeah,
and
Corey
that's
Dickerson's going to be on one of our job sites, demoing their ride-on demo machine. So thanks, Wolf, for being able to do that. If you
Tell
guys
Corey I
don't
said
know,
hello.
yeah, if you guys don't know, contact your reps. There's plenty of sources out there where if you need something, they're more than happy to provide it. Are they going to sell you a tool? Probably. That's the whole goal.
Yep. There's plenty of
that
technical
is the goal.
resources out there from manufacturers that you as an installer need to develop those relationships that will make your life a lot easier. Daniel, Jose, and myself, I call people all the time, right? To have those people on speed dial in your phone saves a lot of time and money. And that's where these associations come in to play, right? The CFIs, the FCICA, NAFCT, all these groups, you get to meet these technical based people for the manufacturer for the products that you use every day.
Right.
It's just it's priceless.
And a huge shout out, Sarah. Do you mind being on camera? Do you mind being on camera? You don't want. She don't want to be on camera, but she's been taking a great care of us these last couple
Sarah's
of
the
weeks.
goat. She's the best.
She
She's
is.
absolutely the best.
She's shy.
But thanks, guys. I think we're gonna end it there. We're gonna finish up today and get ready for tomorrow over here. And then, I mean, tomorrow, like they thought these last couple days were something, but once you get into that flash code welding, it's a totally different
Well,
beast.
That's
I
right.
know. I can't wait to hear about that.
Well, stay tuned on social media. We'll have more pictures and details, and we'll keep
Right.
you up to date. And hopefully, we'll see you at the next class.
Don't just follow the Huddle on social media. Follow NAFCT. Follow America's Floor Source. All these people are in the industry to not only help you be better, but to help the industry be better as a whole. So let's all be part of that progress.
If you guys like what you hear, let us know. Share it, like it, dislike it, whatever you want. Check out the other platforms. Share that, like it, dislike it, whatever floats your boat. If you have anything else that you want to add or you want to hear something as far as content that we haven't covered, please chime in. Let us know. We're all ears. But I think with that, we're going to take off. We really appreciate you guys' time. Daniel, thanks for taking time away from the class to talk with us today. And Sonny, you as well. We really appreciate both your guys' time.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate all the support from the Huddle.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you next Tuesday at 4 p.m.